I've listened to Losing Sleep by Parachute for 8 years.
And I listened to it once yesterday.
Welcome to Spin It. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spin It, the record ranking podcast for people who would rather be listening to music. I'm James, and with me, losing plenty of sleep as we speak, it's Connor.
I mean, aren't we all actively losing sleep anytime we're not sleeping?
No, I mean, you could be not sleeping, but losing sleep implies that you would otherwise be sleeping.
Or is it just like when you go to sleep, you fill your sleep meter, and then throughout the day, you slowly lose it?
Oh, you slowly lose how recharged your sleep made you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think it's on the other end, because when you say, oh man, I'm losing sleep, you're staying up late when you should be going to bed.
I mean, I always should be going to bed. I like sleep.
I'm in a perpetual state of sleep loss. Yeah, it's a very tired episode. Wow, what a time. Hey, guess what? This episode marks the beginning. Well, last episode technically marked the beginning, but it was a holiday special. We're in the 100 Grady's now.
Whoa, I can't believe we've had 100 episodes since the Grady's.
I know.
What?
It's pretty wild. This is 100 Grady 1.
Excuse me?
It's pretty wild to think about. I feel like the Grady's is where we, improved a lot of things. Microphone quality increased, the editing changed right around the Grady's. So it's wild to be 100 episodes on from that. But I'm excited about it. And I thought we needed to run into the Grady's, hit the ground, the 100 Grady's. You get it. You know what I said. We need to hit the ground running. And so I picked a band that I was kind of low-key saving for a cool time for the podcast, but also because this album has a song called The New Year, and this is our episode that comes out right before New Year's. So it works out on multiple levels, but that album is Losing Sleep, and the band that it is by is Parachute. Not necessarily a year of discovery pick for me. I've known Parachute for years and years, but I discovered Parachute in a really interesting way. I had never listened to Parachute in my life back 8 years ago. But in college, I took a songwriting class, and I, actually don't love playing songs that I write for people. But in this class, I had to, right? Because I wanted a grade.
Wow.
I know.
Caved on all your morals, huh? For a grade?
I sold out. Sold out for an A, or probably a B. I don't remember what I got in songwriting. It was probably more of a pass-fail situation, but I did okay. Anyway, one of the people in the class said, I don't know, exactly what to compare it but they said, your music sounds kind of like Parachute. And I was like, I've never heard of Parachute. And so I put on this album and I listened all the way through Parachute stuff. And since nobody else ever hears my music, Parachute's the only band that I've ever been compared to. So that's my year of discovery story. I don't think it's an accurate comparison. Parachute's way better than me, but I like Parachute a lot. How did you discover Parachute?
So it's actually a really cool story.
Yeah, the process of opening the spreadsheet and stuff.
Darn it, that's exactly what I was going to do.
I know.
I was absolutely about to be it's a really funny story. So you see, I went to the spreadsheet where you log what albums we're going to do, and I looked at what I needed to do notes for next, and it was Parachute.
Lo and behold. Yeah, it just landed right in your lap, I guess. How cool for the year of discovery. Well, that's marvelous. So you didn't know any other bigger hits like She's Love or stuff from later on down the road?
Correct.
That's a good discovery. It's like they parachuted from the sky.
Oh, yeah, they're like parachute jumpers into my brain.
Into your playlist and into your brain, that's right.
They went right into the earworm.
I hope so. I think a lot of these songs on Losing Sleep are pretty earwormy. I love this record. It's like a super nostalgic one for me. I don't think it's Parachute's best, actually, and my scores at the end of the episode surprised even me. But that's later, that's a sneak peek. But suffice it to say, I really enjoy this album a lot, and I'm jazzed. Then we'll have an episode about it. But before we can talk about the album, we got to talk about the band, as always. The other week we talked about Matchbox 20 and how they were a pop rock band with emphasis kind of on the rock. Parachute is a pop rock band, emphasis on the pop, I think. Does that sound accurate?
I think so.
Me too. Well, Parachute comes out of Charlottesville, Virginia. The band was founded by childhood friends vocalist Will Anderson and drummer Johnny Stubblefield. In 2006, right when they were around the age of 20, they started a band called Sparky's Flaw, along with their friends and classmates, keyboardist Kit French, guitarist David Glover, and bassist Alex Hargrave. Before too long, although I think some of this came after Losing Sleep, but before too long they'd expand to include guitarists Peter DeJong and Nate McFarland, and then eventually also pianist Eric Prum. So they decided on the new name Parachute, signed with Mercury Records in 2007, and then after graduating from college in 2008, the band launched straight away into full-time touring. And this week we're talking about their debut record, so it's the one that kind of kickstarts one heck of a career for the band. Again, one of my personal favorites. I think even 15 years on and 5 albums later, it still holds up as like a really great debut for the band, especially in the songwriting category. I think a lot of their later stuff is produced a little cleaner, maybe, but this is a really well-written album. Maybe their best in the writing department, but I don't know. That's subjective. It is called Losing Sleep, and it came out on May 19th, 2009. So now, I mean, if you listen to this in the first 3 days that it came out, this episode, then this doesn't apply. But as of 2025, the album is on its, 16th birthday. That's wild.
That is wild.
I know, it could get its driver's license. Losing Sleep debuted and peaked at number 40 on the Billboard 200 and number 2 on the digital albums chart, which again, always blows my mind as a feat to accomplish in 2009 with a debut album to be number 2 on the digital albums chart in 2009. iTunes was poppin', I guess. The normal version of the album features 10 distinct tracks, plus a special full band version of She's Love. And there were also a couple of exclusive bonus tracks if you bought the record on iTunes or Amazon, and then a deluxe edition with 2 other songs and an acoustic version of All That I Am. I was really tempted for this episode to also talk about Be Here and Losing Sleep from the deluxe version, but I opted not to. We'll just talk about the normal 10 and maybe the full band version of She's Love.
That's fair.
Yeah, frontman Will Anderson wrote and co-wrote all of these songs. 6 of them were fully solo writes. 4 of them were co-writes. And like I said a little bit earlier, I think it does come off sounding a little bit, tiny little bit dated from a production standpoint. It's not as vibrant as the band's later work, in my mind. But there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I think it still holds up. And it definitely still pulls its weight in the other categories like music and lyrics, and critics at the time loved it too. Melodic said that the record was catchy and groovy and shouts out longevity, and they said its singles would conquer the airwaves from now on. I don't know if they've conquered the airwaves from now on continually, but they definitely did for a while. AllMusic gave Losing Sleep 3 stars, but they praised the band's determination. They said ambition is good for any young band, and Parachute is talented enough to warrant the starry-eyed approach. I think starry-eyed is a great adjective for the band. I think that is exactly their kind of personality. Other singles from the album did indeed turn out to be hits. She Is Love and Under Control got some placement in commercials for Nivea skincare products. Back Again made the cut for the track list in a video game Band Hero. And in August of 2009, Under Control was the free iTunes single of the week. So that's cool. The record's success also landed Parachute on Daryl Hall's internet concert series. Daryl Hall of Daryl Hall and John Oates fame. And it got Parachute sharing the stage with such acts as the Jonas Brothers and Taylor Swift. The band's second album, called The Way It Was, came out in 2011 and debuted at number 19 on the Billboard 200. Much higher. It doubled. And it's got some real hit power too, right? Forever and Always got pretty big. Kiss Me Slowly is on that record too. It was written with 2/3 of the country trio Lady A. Who knew? I didn't know that. Then Parachute put out Overnight in 2013, Wide Awake in 2016. I found the band in 2016, so I had all that backlog to do. And then they released their self-titled Parachute record in 2019. So I have indeed ranked and scored all of Parachute stuff. I know the band thoroughly, which is exciting. It's not too many bands we talk about where I absolutely know the entire discography, but this is one. Today, Parachute operates independently, right? They're not on a label at the moment, but for the last half decade, the band's mostly been taking time off to pursue solo projects and spend time with family, and I think that's really cool. So who knows if or when they'll come back together and what kind of music they'll make when they do, but yeah, that's where they're at. Also, fun trivia, over the 15 years of their career so far, Parachute has toured with a ton of cool artists. I saw them with Chris Allen in 2017, which was awesome. They've toured with The Script, with Kelly Clarkson, the Plain White T's, the All-American Rejects, who we talked about from episode 140. They did Boys Like Girls. They toured with Andy Grammer and Gavin DeGraw and Need to Breathe. A lot of bands that they've either opened for or headlined for. It's pretty cool. So that's the gist. It's pretty short and sweet for Parachute. I do believe that takes us right up to Factor Spin territory.
Very nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the Mixtaper. Let's get him on in here.
Yeah, I think we should get him in here. But I got a little sneak peek at his facts this week. And all I'm going to say is you're going to owe me an apology.
I'm going to owe you an apology?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
You'll find out.
I don't know what that means. But okay, let's bring in the Mixtaper and find out why I need to apologize to Connor and play some Factor Spin.
Hey, it's me, the Mixtaper.
Hello, Mixtaper. What do I have to be sorry for?
Connor was peeking at my notes, and
That's what he said no more than 2 seconds ago.
he was looking at it, and he didn't get all the information, but he saw something that we're going to talk about that you gave him a lot of crap for.
A lot of crap for?
Mm-hmm. Early in the history of the podcast.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what would that be? Well, it can't be about sleeping during times we were supposed to record. It can't be about listening to the album wrong,
Well, we'll see if you recognize it when we get to it.
I suppose.
Up first, you mentioned how the band used to go by a different name.
I did.
I believe it was Sparky's Flaw.
That's right.
But you didn't touch on how they picked their new name.
Their new name, Parachute. I didn't touch on that because, you know what? I don't know if I know that.
Well, I'm here to tell you that the band is named after a misheard lyric.
Oh, okay. Is this the thing I got on Connor's case for? Mishearing lyrics? I don't remember doing that, but maybe.
Maybe.
What lyrics would Connor have misheard? I guess, but more importantly, what lyrics did the band Parachute mishear? Was it a lyric about a pair of shoes?
No. Will originally pitched the name Parade Chute.
Parade Chute? What? Why?
Well, that'd be like what the actual lyric would have been if he hadn't misheard it.
The actual lyric was Parade Chute?
You know what? The better way to phrase, well, maybe not the better way, but the way I should have phrased that was he meant to suggest the name Parade Chute, but instead suggested Parachute because that's what he heard. But the real lyric is Parade Chute.
Parade Chute. What is that? That's not a thing.
A Parade Chute is the lyrics in a U2 song.
Okay, so he misheard this U2 song where they say Parade Chute, and he thought they said Parachute and said, that's a great name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the U2 song? If it's not from the Joshua Tree, I probably don't know it.
I'll be 100% honest. I don't know. I didn't think about you asking that question.
What?
I didn't look.
You misheard a lyric, and you didn't think to look at the song that the lyric was misheard from?
I have the correct lyric and I have the band.
Okay.
I did not think to look up what song that is.
Well, do you have more context for the correct lyric? What's U2 singing about a parade chute?
No. He just said that he pitched the name to the band during a brainstorming session, and he had been listening to U2 songs, and when they were pitching ideas, he was like, hey, I think the word parachute makes a pretty cool band name. And they're like, oh, that's cool. How'd you come up with that? He's like, oh, it's this lyric in this U2 song. And then they were like, nah, that's Parade Chute. That's my summary of how that brainstorming session went.
It's a good summary.
My historical reenactment, if you will.
Now, I can forgive him for misunderstanding that lyric because a parachute is a very common, recognizable noun.
Mm-hmm.
Parade chute is baffling. I don't know. I think this is a spin.
He thinks it's a spin.
I think Parachute's a great name. I think it's totally come-upable without mishearing a lyric. I think this is just a name that I'm surprised, frankly, didn't exist until 2009.
So you're locking in spin?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lock in spin. I think Parachute came about in some other way, but I don't know what on earth Parade Chute would be.
This is a spin.
Sorry to rain on your parade chute, but I got that one right.
Well, yeah, good thing I have a chute for my parade to protect me from that rain.
Shoot. Anyway, what's the deal with that? Did you think I'd believe?
Well, the band name was actually chosen just as part of a rebranding effort, and yeah, they just thought it was a good name that tied in well with their emotional tone.
It does, honestly.
More on how I came up with that spin later.
Oh, boy. Because I am really confused about Parade Chute. I mean, it's certainly an idea. Like, parades have big balloons and, floats, I guess. A balloon could be like a parade chute. I don't know. I was trying to make it work in my head.
Part of me thought you might go for it just because it was too dumb to make up, but...
Well, it honestly didn't help you this time that you didn't have the song title.
Yeah, I just didn't think of that.
Fair enough. Because you too, you could have been like, oh, that's a Bono thing. Parade chute, it's an Irish term. I would have been like, okay.
Yeah, it didn't even cross my mind.
Sad day. Well, I don't think that's what I owe Connor an apology for. I think he hears all the lyrics right, or at least is able to Google them and look them up.
Up next, The band wrote a song for a fast food commercial.
This is the one I need to apologize to Connor for. He does this all the time, and it used to get on my nerves, but I've since embraced it. I'm just kidding. A song for a fast food commercial, BB King Eggwich style. Mm-hmm. What fast food chain recruited Parachute for their ads?
Well, for that, we're going to have to play everybody's new favorite game show.
New favorite?
Guess that fast food brand.
There's a lot of fast food brands.
Yeah, we're not going to make you play that because I could give you 10 guesses and you probably would not get it.
Great. That means it's probably a deeper cut, like Hardee's or something.
Ooh, I'll give you one chance.
Can I get like a category of food?
Ooh, category of food. Well, I can tell you what the promotional food was for. That this was for.
Okay.
It was for a new honey mustard chicken sandwich.
Honey mustard chicken. That could be anyone.
I didn't say it would be helpful.
No. Ooh.
But it's like a place known for chicken.
Okay, that does narrow it down. If it's known for chicken, that leaves me with like Chick-fil-A as a primary guess. But that would be...
Incorrect.
Right, that would be close to my top 10, which is why I'm not going to guess it.
Smart.
Yeah. Other famous for chicken places, I guess, include like KFC, which would be also close to my top 10. Raising Cane's is more regional and localized. They're a chicken place. Let's just lock in a KFC. Sure.
No.
That's far enough on the periphery that I don't know if it would have been in my top 10.
Nah.
Okay, then I've lost the game, and you can just tell me.
I'll give you one more hint.
Ugh.
It starts with the last letter of the alphabet.
Oh, it's Zaxby's then.
Zaxby's!
That one should have been on my mind. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
But definitely not a top 10 answer.
No, probably not. Sorry, Zaxby's. Not a sponsor.
But I guess is a sponsor of Parachute, or is Parachute a sponsor of Zaxby's? Which way does that relationship go?
I don't think it has to be either. If they just wanted a song for a commercial, I don't think that's an endorsement.
Oh, fair enough.
Anyway, what song did they write? Is it a song that they released separately?
You can find it online, but it's not like on any of their albums or anything.
Okay, for Honey Mustard, what's
It's called Taste of Love.
Taste of Love?
Yeah, unclear if that's the name of the song or if that's the name of the ad campaign, because it's the video's like Parachute X Zaxby's Taste of Love new honey mustard chicken sandwich commercial.
It's probably the name of the sandwich. Come get the Taste of Love sandwich. It's actually the Taste of Love is a lot like the Taste of Honey Mustard.
Love tastes surprisingly like honey mustard.
When did they do this?
They did this in 2014. At least that's what time this video was posted.
Okay. Why? I mean, do they have any particular affinity for Zaxby's? Are there even Zaxby's in Virginia? I guess I don't know.
You're asking the wrong guy. Not,
yeah, I know.
Sorry, I'm not one of those people that knows the location of every Zaxby's.
Well, they have a big map up in my local Zaxby's that says Zaxby's is here, and it's got all the spots where there are Zaxby's. And there's a region where they are and a lot of regions where they aren't.
I don't think I've ever had Zaxby's.
Wow, you're missing out. It's the Taste of Love. Get with it. I think this one may be a fact. I think Zaxby's is just obscure enough that I might not have heard of it, because I pretty much know every song that Parachutes released.
Oh, wow, you're that big of a Parachute fan, huh?
Yeah, and I don't know if I've heard of this Taste of Love, but if it's a commercial song about honey mustard, I mean, why would they ever talk about that or like otherwise use that? It's a tough call. I'm curious. Like, I want to discover a new Parachute song, and that's what makes me want to say this is true. But I think it's way more likely that this is another spin.
You gotta decide.
I'm going to rein it in. I'm going to rein it in and say that this one's a spin.
He's gonna rein it in! Ooh, he's going with spin after all that.
Yep. And if I'm wrong and there is a surprise new Parachute song about the Taste of Love, which is honey mustard out there, I'll just be happy, and that'll be great.
That'll be exciting for you.
Otherwise, I'll just get a point, and that'll be great.
The ad apparently took off in the Southeast, with fans petitioning for the song's official release, which I guess answers your earlier question about if it had been officially released.
Fans want it. Give us the chicken song.
They described the song as featuring their signature acoustic style and featuring lyrics about sweetness and savoring every moment.
That does sound like a Parachute song. That is pretty similar to a song they would write.
And so you're locking in spin, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. Chung chung.
Because I feel like you've just said all that other made-up information to try and sway me the other way.
How dare you? I would never. You'd already locked in. I was just clarifying.
Okay.
This is a spin.
Oh, right.
Good job reining it in.
Ooh, thank you. That was tempting. I almost went for it. I went for the carrot at the end of the stick, and I said, no, that's a carrot on a stick. I can do better.
I can do better, like a piece of cheesecake.
That would have got me for sure. Or the Taste of Love honey mustard chicken sandwich on a stick.
What a good name for a honey mustard chicken sandwich.
Really, it is.
Zaxby's, if you're listening to this, you can have that one.
I thought they already did, and you just made up an ad campaign for it.
Sure didn't.
Whoops.
Guess it's time to move on to fact number 3.
Do I get to know how you made up that one, or will that come later, too?
Later.
Wow.
Fact number 3. Parachute once played a surprise concert.
A surprise for them, or a surprise for the people attending the concert?
The people attending.
Because imagine if it was a surprise for them. Like,
They walk in somewhere and just boom, lights turn on, audience starts clapping, you're on a stage all of a sudden.
that'd be shocking. Connor doesn't play a lot of surprise concerts. I don't think I have to apologize to him for this one either, but we'll have to get into the specifics. What makes this concert such a surprise for the fans? Is it like a pop-up show? A secret session kind of thing?
It is absolutely a pop-up show.
Ooh, where'd they pop up?
A lot of different places, actually. They went on a bit of a promotional tour that included performing in unconventional venues.
Oh, a pop-up promo tour. What kind of unconventional venues did they go to?
Unconventional venues like coffee shops, super unconventional.
Yeah, man, nobody ever plays music in coffee shops.
Bowling alleys.
Little different. Yeah, that's a little bit more of a unique vibe.
And a laundromat.
Yeah, that'll do. That would drive me up a wall if I were there trying to do my laundry, to be honest. If I had to like sit and wait for my dryer for 2.5 hours and this band just set up and started playing a full set, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Give you something to do while you're waiting.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That'd be pretty something. But a laundromat's like such a transient place. Like people are so in and out of a laundromat.
Yeah, so it's a good place to get a lot of people to hear your music.
I mean,
when you're trying to promote.
Yeah, but if you want Parachute fans to show up and hang out, what do you just like tweet, hey, we're at the local laundromat today? You expect them to all come in and like crowd into a corner of a laundromat? I don't know.
So maybe this will help. It was in 2009.
Okay, early days.
Right as they were getting started.
Sure.
Sorry, I lied. This was in 2012. Still early, but...
Still early. Not quite as early.
Not quite as early.
That does sound pretty surprising. Did they have a lot of success with this? I mean, how many of these little pop-up shows did they do? Sounds like at least 3 of them.
At least.
Oh, I don't know what to make of this. I'm trying to figure out what your game is. Why can't you tell me while you're making up spins? It is throwing me off. A laundromat concert would be pretty surprising. I don't know. Do you have any other information about this one?
It was in Nashville. It was a laundromat in Nashville where they performed an acoustic set.
I see. So the laundromat's the main focal point. That's the surprise concert that is the once played a surprise concert?
Yeah.
Okay.
They turned an ordinary laundromat visit into a memorable musical experience.
Again, though, is it memorable for the right reasons? I don't know. I think this one's also a spin.
Also a spin.
Yeah.
Any guesses to what my game is?
Not particularly. I mean, the closest I can think with playing in a laundromat is like, I don't know, one of their popular songs is called White Dress. Like maybe there's a laundry joke in here somewhere. I don't know. But I do think it's a spin. I do think it'd be cool, and I'm sure they've done a pop-up show or two here or there. I just don't know about laundromat.
It would be cool, and they have done a pop-up show here or there, but they haven't not performed in a laundromat.
No.
Meaning they have performed in a laundromat, meaning this is a true fact.
Fact. Darn. I knew you'd get me on one of them. I had a kind of an iffy feeling about that one.
I was worried because I knew you liked Parachute a lot. So.
I do. And I like pop-up shows a lot, too. I always think those are so neat.
Apparently, unless they're in a laundromat.
Well, I wouldn't mind going to a pop-up show in a laundromat. I would mind going to a laundromat with a pop-up show. That's what I'm saying. It's my intentions in frequenting the establishment. Like, that's what changes how I feel about it.
Well, on to our 4th and final fact.
Okay, this must be the thing that I have to apologize to Connor about.
Unless you've already missed it.
That's definitely possible. Again, he does write a lot of songs for fast food commercials.
Parade Chutes drummer once designed the band's merch.
Designed the band's merch. This one's got some legs for something I should apologize to Connor about. On the surface level, I mean, this just seems like a piece of information. I mean, any one of them could have designed the merch, but the fact that this is a factor spin-worthy bullet point makes me think that this merch was exceptional for one reason or another, and I don't think that's in a good way.
Well, their drummer, Johnny Stubblefield, designed some of the band's earliest merchandise, including their first official tour t-shirt.
Tour t-shirt, love it.
Fans loved this handmade feel to the merchandise, and the shirt, it's a whole handmade feel. The shirt itself wasn't handmade, but the art for the shirt was handmade by Johnny.
Like drawn?
And the shirt's sold out pretty quickly.
Okay. What did he create? What's his design look like?
The design was created using Microsoft Paint.
Oh, boy.
And featured stick figures representing each band member, a parachute doodle, and the text, "We're Parachute" in Comic Sans.
Yeah, that is a heck of a design. Microsoft Paint doesn't even exist anymore.
Yes, it does.
Well, yeah, but they stopped supporting it.
Yeah.
Boy, that sounds interesting. So you're saying I should apologize to Connor because he made merch that sounds better than this? And
I never said you should apologize to Connor.
I see. Okay. Well, I'll talk to him about it when he comes back, I guess. How many did they sell?
I don't know, but they sold out. However many they had made. He said that he was the drummer, the merch designer, and sometimes the roadie.
You got a lot of work to do. Yeah, in a startup band.
And then other band members joked that they would never let Johnny near design software ever again.
That was going to be my next question because, I mean, he designed it and it sounds like it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing design, but it was successful and it did sell. So I was curious whether he did more. But you said once designed.
Apparently fans still bring the shirts to concerts for to have them sign and stuff. So it's still popular.
Interesting. That was their official tour t-shirt, huh? Way back in the 2009 days.
Back when they were touring the college scene. Yeah.
Maybe before 2008, 7-6.
Yeah. Johnny also once joked that his limited art skills, quote, paved the way for the band's humble beginnings.
Pave the way for the beginnings? That's as humble as it gets. Oh, that's funny.
But that's what I got for you.
Yeah, so fans love the shirt because of its homemade feel. I think this one does not have a homemade feel. I think this is a fact. I don't think this one's homemade. I think this is maybe true. Especially if it's as early as you claim. 2009 and before feels reasonable, to not have a big merch endeavor in place. Hand-making stuff is quirky and fun and original. I kind of can believe this.
This is a spin.
Oh, darn it. I started so strong and we fell so far.
Snatched a 50-50 from you in the second half here. I'm a second half mixtaper.
I guess so. That's a bummer.
It is true that Johnny Stubblefield was involved and helped design a lot of the band's early merch.
I believe that.
But it was done using professional merch services and all that jazz.
All right. Yeah, that also makes sense. I mean, darn.
Darn. I saw 50-50. But as for the game I was playing this week and why I couldn't tell you how I developed my spins.
Yeah, I really am curious about this.
These 3 spins were created Mad Lib style.
Mad Lib style?
Uh-huh. I put together a little framework for it based off of true information I found, like the merch thing and how he was a part of it. And I put together a little thing and then I left in certain blanks. And then I asked people that I knew listened to the podcast for nouns and verbs and other fill in the. Sometimes I didn't. I just gave them the sentence and said fill in the blank. And we kind of Mad Lib styled created these facts.
That's wild.
That's somebody picked Zaxby's as the restaurant. I said give me a lesser known fast food restaurant, and they told me Zaxby's. I said okay.
Well, like I said, that was the perfect level of obscurity.
Taste of Love was, I asked for a song title that could be used for a fast food theme.
Taste of Love, wow.
Yeah, so we Mad Lib styled put together these.
What about the misheard lyric?
Yep. I said give me something that could be a misheard lyric for Parachute.
Parade Chute.
Parade Chute. And I was like, I like it.
Why not? Well, that's clever.
Yeah.
You never run out of fun ways to make up lies.
I find when I get creative like that, you struggle more. And I thought maybe I was failing in the first half, but it really came through in the second half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the laundromat thing felt like it could have been a Mad Libs. They played in a coffee shop,
I know,
a bowling
right?
alley, and a laundromat, but that was real.
And blank.
Well, fantastic. I will settle for 50-50, but
Hey, and if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I want to be part of creating Mad Libs to help Trick James and Factor Spin, you can do so by reaching out to me at my email, themixtaper at
that's not the part you're having trouble with, really?
this is just at gmail.com.
No, it's spinitpod.com.
Oh, I was debating the two.
We have a website.
Actually had I couldn't remember. The Mixtaper at spinitpod.com.
Absolutely.
Or on social media on X at _Mixtaper.
Spoken with confidence. Yep, that's it. Would you even know if somebody messaged you on X?
Yes, I do. I have notifications turned on.
Okay.
But yeah, reach out, become part of the team, the Mixtaper team.
Or you can become part of my team, and I don't know what that entails.
Losing.
I guess you're just a part of my team if you root for me in the episode.
But until next time,
Until next time.
pick a exclamation.
Ouch.
Well, we're mad-libbing this one. Ouch.
Ouch.
Okay. Until next time. Ouch.
That didn't work so well.
You can pick a different one.
I'll just pick, yeah.
That would have been, yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping you were going to do the first time. Until next time, yeah!
Well, to say ouch, it sounded like he subbed his toe on the way out, and that was kind of funny.
And I'm back.
Welcome back, Connor.
I'm waiting for my apology.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I was hard on you for making up so many fast food commercial songs before, but after listening to this fake story about how Parachute tasted love at Zaxby's, I've seen the error of my ways, and I want to apologize for that.
Thank you. I mean, I think I'd be a great fast food jingle writer, so.
You would with the greats like Barry Manilow and T-Pain and the rest of them.
BB King.
Or was it Pusha T? I never remember who did McDonald's. I think it was T-Pain.
I can never remember. Yeah.
Let's talk about this album art. It's a roller coaster. Do you like roller coasters?
Love them.
Really? I think I like them, but only to a certain point.
I like them. I don't like their lines.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the time they're not worth their line, especially if I've already been on it before.
That's true.
Like, I think about roller coasters I've been on, and I'm like, I don't know if any of them were, like, so great that I'm like, yeah, I would stand in a 2-hour line to ride that again. Like, I can think of one where that was maybe the case.
Which one?
I don't remember what it's called, but it's one of the ones where your feet dangle.
But darn it, I'd ride it again.
Where you're, like, strapped in by the arms, and then your feet dangle.
Uh-huh. See, I've never ridden any of those, really.
Well, you weren't really a roller coaster person, so.
Not much. Nope.
Like, okay, so there's that one. There's, like, the, like, river log ride coaster at Disney.
Oh, like a log flume?
Yeah. Like, that one. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Then you got, like, the actual, like, river coasters where you're in, like, the inner tube with, like, 5 other people. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's more of a water slide than a roller coaster, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you that if it was a water slide or a roller coaster. And some of it's almost like a water slide meets a lazy river, right? Because there's sections of it where you're just following the current down, and then you'll hit like a big slide or like an upshoot. So those are kind of like a hybrid. So I guess water-based coasters I like. And then, of course, if I haven't been on one and I think it looks interesting, I would stand in line for that.
Sure.
This has been our roller coaster tangent.
That's kind of related. I mean, the album cover's a roller coaster. What do you think about this roller coaster on the cover? Do you recognize it?
Should I?
I don't know. You're a roller coaster guy. I don't know what roller coaster it is.
I mean, I don't know if I would call myself a roller coaster guy.
More than me.
I've been to one amusement park that I can remember.
Oh.
I've been to 2, but I don't really remember the first one.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, there's a roller coaster. I don't like the filter and the border that they've put around the album cover here. It makes it look old. I think it looks a little too 2009. But hey, it is what it is. Love their font, though. Really great choice for a band typeface. Well, let's get into it. The album kicks off with track number 1, All That I Am.
All that I am is a roller coaster guy.
No, you're not. You just said you weren't. I'm confused. You're sending mixed signals.
Yeah, but you put that label on me, so
Sure.
you put me in that box.
I did. I really love the way this one starts.
This album starts very 2009.
It does. But I love that about it. That guitar riff and the drums kicking in.
Wow, double standard.
Well, I mean, I think the music ages differently than the aesthetic of the album cover.
If you say so.
The whole album feels 2009 in its just style. You're going to listen to all these songs and be like, that one sounds pretty 2009. And it's true. They do. But Parade Chutes a band where I think, if you listen to their newer stuff, their sound evolves beyond what this album presents a lot. And I think that's great. But this album is a great, a foundational starting point for all that. And I love Will Anderson's voice. My goodness. I think he's got a great vocal for all these tracks. It's really smooth and poppy. It really serves the songs that he's writing very well. And I like how many movements All I Am has, right? We get a good verse and kind of a pre-chorus. The nights can't hide the days. I guess that's almost a chorus, isn't it? But it feels like a pre-chorus. Then there's a good bridge, the fog that sits like blankets. I don't know. I like it all. But it's like a first taste of Parachute. How we feeling? Good vibes? Bad vibes? Love it? Hate it? Somewhere in the middle it?
Somewhere in the middle it.
Okay, I can handle that.
I think this song gets me in the mood for this album.
Great. I think it's, honestly, out of all of these tracks, probably the perfect opener. It's a nice, mid-tempo song. But then I really love when we move to track 2, Back Again, and kind of kick into the up-tempo kind of style. Or at least as up-tempo as Parachute tries to get on this first record. Back Again is probably the pinnacle. And unlike the last one, which started with guitar and then drums, Back Again just starts with drums. Then we kind of kick right into the first verse. There's some brass instruments in here, which is always a positive, I think. It also ends up with a little bit more of a memorable chorus than All That I Am.
Yeah.
I think most of the things that All That I Am introduces us to, Back Again represents an improvement on.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. There's some harmonies on the vocals in the chorus. There's some cool chord changes. He gets into the higher parts of his vocal range and the head voice, the falsetto part of it. I just think it's a really compelling track. It's a fun one to crank up in the car and push the gas pedal a little farther too. There's also some really cool moments for the production and the arrangement where halfway through the second verse, I've taken blows and felt them all, but nothing close to this. They kind of do a da-da-da-da, and then it cuts out while he finishes that phrase. It just gives him a good chance to come back in strong. There's a really interesting dynamic on Back Again that's really nice.
I like the da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's different.
I also like the horns on this one, of course. They're subtle.
Yeah, they don't blow you away.
Some subtle horns.
They don't overpower the rest of the track, but they're obvious, they're present and noticeable.
Also didn't hate when they went into their falsetto.
Really? I know sometimes that loses you a little bit.
Yeah, but it didn't.
Oh, good. To look at the Spotify plays, I'm kind of surprised where Back Again falls. I've always thought it was in the upper parts of this album for me, but...
It's got lower plays.
Well, that's just a tragedy. Well, despite this one being, I guess, apparently on the lesser side, the next song is on the morer side. It's definitely a more popular track. She, parentheses, for Liz, is one of Parachute's more popular early songs.
Who do you think Liz is? Well,
that's a great question. Now, I know for sure that it is about a specific person.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's one of the questions he gets asked a lot. Will does, the songwriter. He said, yeah, it's about someone specific. But when he was asked if that person knew it was about them, he said she does not know. She doesn't know it's about her.
Oh, I think it's about the Queen.
Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
The ultimate Liz.
Right.
A Liz among Elizabeths.
I don't know. Is she the words you can't find? Is she the only thing that's killing him and making him feel so alive? I think that's a great chorus, by the way.
It is.
Whatever Liz it's about. Man, how can the only thing that's killing me make me feel so alive? It's so good. I think it's such a sing-alongable chorus. I love the way that he launches into it. And instead of doing the falsetto for the higher range parts on this, he goes full voice. And it's got a good, kick to it. And I really like the way they play with, bass notes on this. They kind of lean heavy into the chord changes with a bass note that pulls you towards the next chord. And I really like that a lot.
I like She.
Me too.
Love a good song about my queen.
Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. We're not British. Neither is Parachute.
It's definitely, again, so far we're 3 tracks in it, and this album feels very 2009.
I told you could say that about every single track, and it's going to remain true. But honestly, think about this. The album came out in early 2009, and most of these songs are written in 2008, so they're ahead of their time a little bit, if you want to get, super technical. I'm curious to know what you thought about our first, proper ballad on the album in track number 4, The Mess I Made. He's staring at it.
It's also about the Queen.
Sure.
Should have kissed you there. Should have held your face after meeting the Queen.
Right. I don't think Will Anderson ever met the Queen of England. Should have called you out. Sure. I like the dynamics on The Mess I've Made. It starts out so quiet, just a piano playing single chords. But then by the time we get to the chorus, it increases a little bit. There's a little crescendo, picks up a little more. Some drums come in at some point. And by the time we get to It's You, It's You, It's You, a really simple but really effective bridge, we kind of got a full band thing going. And they've chosen to arrange the song in a way that's very like rhythmic, very on the downbeats. And I just love that pulse to it. This is the right way to do a 2009 piano pop ballad.
I think we're definitely in a high spot of the album.
Oh, absolutely. Parade Chutes a band that can crank out a good pop tune, but also, boy, I feel like their actual strongest strengths are in ballads.
Their ballads are decent. Yeah.
Yeah, and She is like a soft definition of a ballad. It's not really one, but it's like an ode to someone. The Mess I've Made is purely a piano ballad, and She Is Love following that right up. I mean, that's 3 back-to-back that are really, really strong love songs. Love that a lot. She Is Love is far and away the most popular song from this first record. It's got 109 million Spotify streams. The Mess I've Made has 28 million. It's the second most popular. So it's like a third of what She's Love is.
Sorry, I was just listening to the chorus of The Mess I Made.
Oh, I know. Staring at the mess you made. Here, listening to the mess
I made.
Yeah.
I'm staring at the mess I made of my apartment today.
Oh, no. How did that happen?
I was digging out the Christmas decorations.
I see.
Kind of dates this recording a little bit, but...
Canonically, the episode comes out after Christmas, but okay.
But, I mean, you wanted the honest answer.
I did. I appreciate your candor. My apartment is a Christmas mess right now, too.
Joke's on the audience. We recorded this back in June.
Can we do Christmas in June? So you like the chorus of The Mess I Made. What did you think about She Is Love? Or, as Zaxby's might call it, She Is a Honey Mustard Chicken Sandwich.
Oh, I thought you were going to make the joke. Or as they would call it, Queen is Love, because Queen is she.
Oh, you're using like the transitive property? If the she and she is about the queen, then the she and she is love is also about the queen.
I'm pretty certain this whole album is just like a ode to the queen.
I'm pretty sure none of it is.
I thought this one took a little too long to find to like step on the gas.
It is slow. That's the defining trait of She Is Love.
Yeah, which I'm okay with it being a little slower, but there's a difference between slow and drawn out.
You think it's dragging a little bit?
Yeah, dragging. Yeah, there's a difference between slow and dragging, and I felt it dragged a little in the first half. I felt that the second half it actually got into just that slow vibe.
Wonder why that is, because they're the same tempo.
Well, yeah, but I think there's that section in the middle where he kind of does some like percussion in there. Whether I can't tell if it's like him just hitting the guitar or what it is, but there's some like the thunk.
Oh, it's definitely just him with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, and I think that little bit of percussiveness fixes that drag.
I think that's fair. It gives you a little more rhythm to like latch onto, so you're not floating in the ether as much in between chords. I get that.
I was definitely not expecting the most popular song on the album to sound like this.
Yeah, I know. This is a song I think you could argue doesn't sound like 2009. This one kind of transcends that time boundary.
I agree. It's the first one that has.
Yeah, it might be about the only one, but
The only one.
but I'm glad for that, because at least there's something here. I think it's a beautiful song, and if you listen to the deluxe version of the album, they have a full band version of She's Love that loses a little bit of its like sincerity, just as a one guy with an acoustic guitar singing a ballad kind of thing. But it does give you more of a sense of what it would sound like as a fully produced and arranged.
Does it only lose that sincerity because you're used to the solo version, though?
No.
Like, I'm genuinely asking because I haven't heard it.
No, honestly, it's a little rough. It is faster. They do speed it up. I just don't like the drum sounds on it. Actually, that version feels 2009. The full band version just isn't where it's at. This version I can get behind.
Fair enough.
She's Love, it was actually Parade Chutes' debut single, and it was their most successful to date. It debuted at number 98 on the Hot 100 and it would climb as high as number 66. So that's interesting, to have your debut single be your highest. I wonder how that would be, like to always be chasing that high watermark that you set instantly. But it is just a good song. I think that's a testament to how good the song actually is. Up next is a song called Ghost. Yes, another song called Ghost. Throw it on the pile. How many songs called Ghost have we done? 4?
At least 4?
I feel like it's been 4. We did, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I know The Head and the Heart had a ghost.
There's a lot of ghosts out there.
Jukebox the Ghost had ghosts in empty houses.
And one of them's name is Ryan.
That's true. Ryan the Ghost is out there. This song's not about Ryan the Ghost, and I'm grateful that he didn't attempt to make a comeback during Factor Spin, because I would have had to shut that down. I think Ghost, for me, out of this collection of 10 tracks, is maybe the most underwhelming.
Ooh, you are underwhelmed, huh?
I think Ghost might be 10 of 10 for me on just the basic edition tracks. I don't dislike it, but this is an instance where I think maybe the key's just a little too high. It feels like he's too much in that upper register too much of the time. The chorus doesn't really suit his voice, and it feels a little clunkier. The melodies, like, okay, but not nearly as locked in as we have been to these first 5 tracks. Like, Ghost is okay.
I like Ghost.
I like it lyrically.
I actually felt, of the songs that sound like they're stuck in 2009, Ghost was on the upper end for me.
Really? Why? Did we have backwards opinions of Ghost?
Yeah, I like Ghost chorus.
The chorus is okay. I mean, for the verses, it's pretty one note.
I'm okay with that, though.
The pre-chorus is nice. And then, I don't know, the chorus itself just feels really high up.
Yeah, I'm okay with the one note verse. I really like the pre-chorus. And the chorus, I feel like, has that 2009 feel without feeling like it ticks every 2009 stereotype.
Not all of them. It gets a lot of them.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I think my favorite part of Ghost is the instrumental after the second chorus.
Yes, very good.
Where they kind of add like a synth or almost like a theremin sounding element.
Yes, big fan.
I like that a lot.
I'll be 100% honest with you. You're not going to like this.
Oh, no.
I think Queen Is Love was the most underwhelming.
Really? She's Love, the most popular song on the record by millions of plays.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to let it cloud my judgment, but I feel like the number of plays on Spotify is why it was underwhelming.
Oh, because you had such anticipation?
Like, I feel like if I hadn't seen the plays, I wouldn't have been underwhelmed by it, but I was like, ooh, like, most popular song by several miles.
It's a lot of miles.
Yeah, a lot of miles. This is going to be good. And then it was like I said, it dragged for me. So maybe that's also why Ghost was a bit of a pleasant surprise for me. I ended up liking it more, maybe also because of the underwhelming of She Is Love.
Wild. That could be.
I'm thinking the order and the plays are affecting me a little bit.
You got to stop looking at the plays. I mean, the order I'll give you, you can't avoid the order when you listen to the album all the way through. But you don't have to look at the Spotify plays.
I don't know. You know what? I think I'm going to give myself some credit and say I think I would have felt She Is Love dragged regardless of the plays.
I think you probably would have. I just wonder if it would have still been one of
It maybe wouldn't have felt underwhelming.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
But it definitely would have been a drag and probably lower on my list regardless.
Okay, that makes sense. Up next, we're moving right along. Track 7 is called Under Control.
I like the plunkiness of track 7.
Yeah, Under Control. It sounds just like that. It's another one of my top tracks from this record, I think. I really enjoy it.
I'll be honest, yeah, I'm liking the lesser known songs a lot.
Uh-huh.
Back Again, Ghost, Under Control, these are great.
I think the deep cuts are really where they shine. Under Control, I mean, I would hardly call it a deep cut. It was the second single from the record, and it debuted at number 33 on the adult pop charts, climbed to number 27, so it's as underground as that would allow it to be.
Again, all I have to go off of is plays.
I know.
Shocking that it has so few considering it was the second single.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? But man, I just love, you're right, the staccato piano parts in the beginning. I really love the way they come into the chorus on that chord where the note kind of floats above it. It's just really strong all the way around. And I really love the concept too. You know, I've kept my heart under control, but lately all this time has taken its toll, and I can't hold back what's deep in my soul. I have to tell you about it because I can't keep myself under control anymore. I think that's a really clever way to convey that sentiment, and it's packaged in such a fun song. I also love the way that they kind of give us like a little outro for the second verse. All I want to do is give up, give in, and let this one see where it is, but I don't suppose I will. Kind of like not like a pre-chorus so much as it's a post-verse. I really love that, and I don't think we see that enough in songs.
Is this the first time? I could be wrong, but is this the first time they've done the background singing, like, echo faint in the distance thing?
What do you mean? Like delay on the vocal?
Where they're like taking like they take like the chorus, but like it's in the background and it's super like echoey and faded in the background, like
yeah, like all locked up and under control.
Yeah, is that the first time they've done that this album? Because it's another very 2009 thing to do.
I think it's the first time they've done it like that. Back Again has those harmonies that are like backup vocals, but they don't.
Yeah, that's different.
They are parallel with the lyrics and the melody instead of kind of operating counter to it like they do in Under Control.
Yeah.
But I do like that a lot too. It's a nice feature.
Yeah, it is. It just reminded me very much of 2009.
Okay. I mean, I guess it did.
Just pointing it out. I didn't say it was a bad thing.
It's not.
That it did.
It's not, but if you do think it's a bad thing and you want to hate this album because of it, you can blame it on me because I picked the album. Blame It On Me is up next. This is an interesting blend. Like, it starts with the piano and then it kind of builds like The Mess I Made does, but it's not a ballad. It almost has more of a feel to it, like almost like All That I Am in its energy, especially once we get into those bigger choruses. You can say what you want, but it's only getting better. I really just like the chord progression on Blame It On Me. There's some cool moments here. And you know what? On the chorus here, you get more of that same effect that you saw in Under Control with some background vocals that kind of counter and play to the melodies in the chorus.
What is this style of song called? It's in that same style. It's one of those songs where it gives a lot of like, oh, you can do all these things, but you can't do this other thing. Or, you know, it's that style of song where it's like, here's a bunch of things that are like in category A.
You can say this, you can do this, you can blame it on this.
And then my hook is going to be something that's in category B. You know, like it's like category A, category B songs. That's what I'm going to call them.
Sure. I don't know if there's a specific name, but I know the trope that you're talking about, and it happens a lot.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
It is. This is one of the category A, category B songs. It's just, you know, it's one of those songs where you think it feels right, but you don't know. You got everything you wanted, but you're not sure. I get that. I think I heard that once in a song.
Maybe. Sounds like a pretty good song.
It does, doesn't it?
I do like the chorus, though.
Yeah, the chorus is great. It's a real solid song here. I mean, I think a hallmark of this album mostly is, especially if you look at the Spotify plays, it's pretty consistent, track for track. I mean, there are some standouts with a lot of big numbers and one or two where the numbers dip a little bit. For the most part, I feel like people are listening to this album in its entirety because all these songs are right around that 2.5 million stream range. And so I think that speaks volumes for, you know, people listening to this album all the way through, that it's a consistent body of work. I think that's really great. And up next is another song that rocks pretty hard, but particularly feels pretty 2009 to me, and that's Words Meet Heartbeats. Fully a production thing. Just this song is produced like it's 2009. It's kind of got this wall of sound style to it, and you could tell right from that like opening synth pad that comes in, but it's got some good guitar riffs over it. It's got an interesting lyric hook, like Words Meet Heartbeats. I like the way that rolls off the tongue and the way that makes you go, what does that even mean? My biggest problem with Words Meet Heartbeats, because I mean, I do love it. Melodically, lyrically, it's kind of fun. It's kind of a one-trick pony. It's a song that gets to its level and then doesn't really leave it. It's not stagnant, but it's static. You know what I mean? It stays in one general range of intensity and style. But I love, there's like a keyboard part that happens in the background of the chorus you can kind of hear that does a little lead line. It's so faint, but once you hear it, you can't unhear it, and I love the heck out of that.
Oh, yeah. It is good.
Yeah. I don't know, what'd you think about Words Meet Heartbeats?
I felt like everything it did we'd heard before, pretty much.
Yeah, that's decently true. But I like everything that it's doing.
Yeah, I just think its placement on the album hurts it a little.
Next to last. I will say this is a great song that comes on in shuffle, like separated from this album. Words Me Heartbeat stands on its own particularly well for me.
Also, I just listened to She Is Love full band version, and I disagree. I think I like it better.
You like it better? Oh, but it's so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I disagree. It doesn't drag.
Yeah, but it loses so much of its emotion.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Oh, that's a very appropriate time to use that phrase. Anyway, we got one track left on the normal version of this album.
Yeah. Wait, is this our first episode in the new year?
No, it's our last episode of the old year, because what a way to start the new year.
Oh, because we're getting ready to start the... Okay.
Yeah, no, full disclosure, this is absolutely just this song alone. I was like, what's a good, like, low-key album we could do for the end of the year? Oh, what a way to start the new year. Because we're coming into 2025. This episode comes out on, what, December 27th, I think? So,
wow.
I mean, we're like 4 days away from 2025, a quarter of the century into the new millennium. That's a silly way to think about that. Ooh, but yeah. And again, I also did it though because I feel like Parade Chutes a great way to officially kick off the albums in the 100 Grady's. Feels right. So it's too late now. We've already done it. But the new year is up last. I understand why this one is the least streamed song on the album. I get it. but it's good. It's also the third longest song on the album, which surprises me. It's beat out by Under Control, which I think is the most deserving of its 4.5-minute length. Then All That I Am, which decently earns it too. I don't know if the New Year earns 4 minutes and 15 seconds, but it's here. Kind of a straight up rocker. I said that Parade Chutes a pop rock band that's way more on the pop side. The New Year feels like their attempt to be a little rocky, and I don't know if it lands as well as they kind of want it to. Parade Chutes doesn't make a lot more songs like the New Year in the future, is what I'll say. I think they realize this isn't their wheelhouse. It kind of moved gently in a different direction that's like parallel to, but not quite what the New Year's doing. But won't you say that it's all right? Won't you tell me it's okay?
No, I won't.
Oh, because there's 364 more days.
Well, for us, there's still 365.
For us, there's 368 more days.
Plus a couple extra.
If you're listening to this on the day it comes out. But if you're not, then you're probably already in the New Year.
Yeah. In which case you have less.
Negative days.
You're going to be at negative days, depending on, how far into the future you're listening to this.
Ugh, you're counting down to 0 just to start again.
Well, I mean, I guess... unless you're listening to this right before 2026 begins.
Oh.
In which case, you're about to have another 365 days again.
Yeah, it's evergreen. This song is evergreen.
Hello to those of you listening from right before 2026. How was 2025?
Yeah, I hope it was a good year. What a way to start the new year. No joke, though. I actually do listen to this song most New Year's, whether it's the 31st of December's or the 1st of January's. This song is on my usual New Year's rotation.
Nice.
Because who could resist? We scream and clap for the end of what was and what we've become. I think it's a cool song because, I don't know about you, as I've gotten older, New Year's Eve has lost a little bit of its luster because it used to be such a big thing to stay up late and have a New Year start and the ball drops and you wear the glasses. And
well, to be fair, you stay up late every night, so that's kind of your own fault.
Exactly. I'm not as bad about it now as I used to be.
For those of us who have to wake up early and go to bed at a normal time, it's still got a little bit of that fun.
That magic to make it to midnight. Well, but then, you wake up and you go to the same job that you did 2 days ago.
Yeah. No, I always have January 1st off, so.
Okay, but that's like a hypothetical. Once the holiday is over, you just go continue to live life the same. And the New Year doesn't necessarily mark this big symbolic transitional period, this new phase of life like it once did.
Only if you don't set a New Year's resolution and follow through with it.
See, that's it. Yeah, and I think it's a mental thing. New Year's can be that, but the whole point of this song is that it's not necessarily that.
I think you're just doing New Year's wrong, buddy.
I don't know, but with you, I still have hope that this could be my year.
Yeah, sounds like you're doing it wrong.
He's like waiting on the right person to stumble into his life. And, New Year's doesn't make that change, but it gives him 364 days of hope.
I think it also helps for me that I've got a group of friends that I usually only see around New Year's time. One of the things we do, we see each other a couple times a year, and one of those times is usually New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and then you've got 364 more days until you find them and see them again. That does help, and that is fun.
Yeah.
Well, that does do it for the official tracks on this album. I personally really love the 2 new distinct tracks from the deluxe edition, Be Here and Losing Sleep. Title track hidden on the deluxe edition. Who would have guessed? But I figured I wouldn't make us talk about them for the episode, so we could end the last episode of the old year on the new year. But I would so encourage you to go check those out. They're fun songs. They're different. Be Here is like a piano ballad, kind of a la The Mess I Made. Losing Sleep is a little bit of a weaker track, maybe, but it's not bad. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we should do some final spin. What do you think? Should we parachute down out of the plane into final spin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Marvelous. Now, I like this album a lot. I feel like that's a thing I have to clarify for this episode, that I think this is maybe one of my favorite Parachute albums. I think it's nostalgic for me. It takes me back to a really unique time in my life that I like reflecting on, and that's kind of what Losing Sleep as a record represents to me. And that's why I wanted to do an episode on it. That's why I picked it. Is it Parachute's best album? I think you could make a case. I don't know that it is. I don't know. We'll do the scores. As for the music, I'm giving music a 78. I think there's a lot of really catchy hooks and choruses in here. Some of the verses get a little bit lost, but for the most part, each of these songs is distinct in a memorable way. So 78 for music. Lyrics, I'm giving a 77. A lot of love songs here. A lot of honey chicken sandwiches here. I think it's cool that he explores so much like personal anguish on these songs. The Mess I've Made and She Is Love and Blame It On Me and The New Year. Like all this stuff is really heartfelt. Like you feel the longing in the lyrics, and that's really cool. But I don't think a lot of these songs offer up a ton of new perspective on any of that stuff. 77 for lyrics, because they're pretty good, but they don't like blow my mind. Instruments and production, it's a hard 75. Instrumentally, this album doesn't have a ton of variation. You get some cool moments with the horns on Back Again. You get some cool moments with theremin-like instruments on Ghost, and Words Meet Heartbeats gets a cool synth pad and lead line, but really, this album is a lot of acoustic guitar and piano and some distorted guitar that's in the lead. I just don't know if there's too much variation instrumentally. Then there's the element of production, where, I mean, I don't know how many times can we say it. The album is a 2009 album. It shows its age, and that's okay. But there's very few songs that like transcend that. So 75 for instruments and production. And the vibe, I'm giving a 78. It's a quick listen, and it's a pretty consistent listen. I think it's a solid 10 tracks here. 78 for the vibe. Overall score, 78.4, which ranks Losing Sleep at number 668. So that's funny, I think, because this is actually my lowest ranked Parachute album, even though I think I would call it one of my top 2 favorites.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's ranking at number 668, puts it below NSYNC and No Strings Attached, and it puts it above our slew of Ray Stevens career classics, our 2.5 hours of Ray Stevens.
I disagree with that.
I know you do. You gave Ray Stevens a 10, and I don't see any universe where Losing Sleep gets a 10 from you, let alone a 10 that's higher than Ray Stevens. But that's where it ends up for me. Again, super nostalgic. I'm a big fan of Parachute, and I think their sound strengthens. It diversifies, it cleans up a lot in later albums. But as a starting point, I just really appreciate Losing Sleep, and I really enjoy it, even if it doesn't rank the highest. So that's me. How about you?
For me, I felt an effect that you have talked about a lot, but I have not really encountered too much.
Really? That could be exciting. What's the effect?
An album that feels stuck in its time.
Yes, some do.
Yeah, sometimes they do, and usually that doesn't bother me too much. And I'm not saying that this one necessarily bothered me, but boy, did I feel it.
Yes. It shoots you right back to 2009 through the wormhole.
I kind of had a bit of a Rascal Flatts effect on this one.
Oh.
Where, like, I feel like old me would have been in love with this album. Much like old me looks fondly or looks kindly upon Rascal Flatts.
Yeah, you and your gang.
Yeah. But like current me doesn't have that same opinion.
Interesting. Yeah, this album is like 8 years older now than it was when I heard it. So I get that. Yeah. To listen to it in 2015-16 is very different than to listen to it in 2024-25.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, this album came out in 2009,
right?
So it's even older.
It is.
Crazy to think about. I mean, it's almost been a decade since you first heard it. It's been even longer since it came out.
A decade and a half, really.
As for a score, I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10.
6, okay. Actually, not bad. I think I could have seen this one slipping farther down than that. So 6 is solid.
I almost gave it a 5, and part of me still wants to. But I may just be over. There's someone here that I'm like, I remember liking, like Weezer, the Blue Album, more than I think I liked this, but I could just be misremembering how much I liked Weezer, the Blue Album, because I only remember what we put on the playlist.
Yeah, fair.
You know, I may be having a bit of playlist favoritism there. So I think I'm going to give it a 6, because that's objectively not thinking about what it's around.
Sure.
Where I think it belongs. It is going to go all the way to the bottom of the 6s, though.
Ooh, that is as low as a 6 can get for now.
Yeah, and I think I will give it 6 Mad Libs out of 10.
Mad Libs. Wonderful. Does that mean people could just Mad Lib in a unit?
Yeah, I think that is what that means.
Great. That unit is whatever you want it to be. You know, I think that's a great point about playlist familiarity bias. I think that's one of the reasons the playlist is so helpful at this stage, is because, I mean, it's been 3 years or more since you've maybe touched some of these albums in full. So at least with the playlist, you can get a constant reminder of what all the music we've covered has been like, and it can stay a little bit fresh.
Yeah, I like the playlist. It's good.
I know, I love it. But that means it is time to choose which 2 Parachute songs get immortalized on the playlist.
Well, whoa. I mean, we can do that since it was such a nice transition, but I still got a top 3 to talk about.
That's true. Well, I liked the transition. So let's keep the transition, do your thing here, and then we'll pretend that I did the transition in a different spot.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just move the whole thing about the playlist.
Oh, no, I'm not going to move it. We're just going to pretend.
Oh, we're just going to pretend.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We're not moving anything. We're just pretending.
No, they're listening to it so they can hear it all.
Gotcha.
And if you want to rewind and listen to that part before we get to the end of the thing again.
Yeah, make sure you pretend with us.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't work.
Right. Top threes.
My playlist pick.
What are we doing?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, man. My top three. It's going to be a weird one, I think.
Love a weird one.
I'm going with honorable mention, Back Again.
Okay, right.
She, for the Queen. Ghost. And Under Control.
That is a weird top three.
It's a really weird top three, but I think that's what I'm going with.
That's interesting. You bypassed the lead single. You went for the second single, but we all agreed it was kind of underrated. You didn't go for the ballads, like The Mess I Made or She Is Love. You went for Ghost.
Yeah.
And Back Again, two of the least popular songs on the album. That's so curious.
I really liked Ghost.
Yeah.
It's a really weird one, but that's what I'm going with.
My top three would probably include She. It would probably include Under Control, Words Meet Heartbeats, and probably She's Love. I think it's just a well-written song, even if it does drag a little bit in this iteration.
I changed my mind. I'm not taking Under Control. I'm going to actually take The New Year.
Whoa, that's even weirder.
Yeah. And the reason I'm not taking Under Control is because I just realized that Under Control and She have a very similar piano thing going on.
Yeah.
With the bum, 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 bum. And so I decided I didn't want two of those in my top three.
Fair enough. Well, what's that mean for your playlist picks then? You can stop pretending now. We're actually at the playlist picks.
Boy, I've narrowed it down to two, and I don't think either is one you would take.
Probably not.
But I kind of want to hear which one you're going to take so I can figure out which one best complements what you're taking.
Oh, it's tough.
No, you know what? I've decided.
Oh.
I'm going with Ghost.
No.
I know. It's so weird.
Wow. But
I really like Ghost.
Wild. I would never in 9 guesses. You could have given me 9 guesses, and I would not have guessed that you would take Ghost for the playlist pick.
Yeah. I really like Ghost.
Wow. Well, if you're taking Ghost, then I feel like I shouldn't take Words Meet Heartbeats or Under Control.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I think if you're taking Ghost, I would go for She. For Liz. That work for you?
Sure. I'm all for that. Yeah.
There you have it. Our playlist picks. One that I like and one that I don't.
Oh, that's actually really funny. That's actually hilarious because I said I had narrowed it down to 2, and neither one was one you would probably pick. The other one I had narrowed it down to was She for Liz.
No way, really?
So I got them both.
That's so funny. She was in my top 3 for picking.
Okay.
It feels more representative of the album and of how I want you to remember Parachute when we're 100 episodes on and you're listening to the playlist. She is one I want you to think back on fondly. So yeah, I think that about does it. I think we finished this skydive, parachuted all the way to the ground safely. But this is just one week of many. If you want to hear more fun things,
1 week of mini.
that's right. Come back in the new year.
Ooh, the
Hear
new year.
new podcast.
New podcast episodes.
Well, same podcast. New podcast episodes. That's true. We will be right back next week with another record and more thoughts about it. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find more information on social media at Spin It Pod on X, at Spin It Pod Official on Instagram, and of course on our website www.spinitpod.com. That was the same last year and the year before and the year before. And be sure to share the podcast with a pal.
I'm getting there. Hey, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and tell a friend who loves the Queen
Loved.
about this podcast, specifically this episode, since we did an album all about her.
Yeah, sure.
They'll really appreciate this one.
We will see you next time. And until then, you know what to do.
Keep spinning.
Would you ever go skydiving if you had a parachute? What if you could skydive with parachute?
Tempting, but probably still no.
Still no? You don't want to skydive at all?
Not really. Not really something that interests me.
Why? Are you afraid of heights? You're the roller coaster guy.
No. I think we've established I am not.
Well, honestly, if you hate waiting in line for roller coasters, then waiting the amount of time it takes to board a plane and get to an altitude where you could skydive is probably much worse, right?
Yeah.
Skydiving is like a roller coaster but with one drop.
I'm just not an extreme sports kind of guy.
Like an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, that's not really. I don't feel the urge to do anything that puts my life in mortal jeopardy.
Well, I don't know. Skydiving, when done safely, doesn't do that.
But the whole thrill of it is you're doing something that would get you killed if you didn't pull the chute, right?
If you didn't actively stop yourself from dying, then you would perish.
And I get people are like, you could die at any time, just like walking down the street. You know, it's like, that's fine. But like the activity of walking down the street does not inherently get me killed.
Doesn't invite death. Doesn't tempt fate.
Yeah.
Okay, see here, in 2023, there were 10 civilian skydiving fatalities in the U.S.
Yeah, people are always like, it's actually really safe and people hardly ever die. I don't really care what the statistics are. It doesn't change the fact that I am still doing an activity that inherently puts my life in mortal jeopardy if I don't intervene.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel the urge to do that.
What if we did it for bonus content? Connor tries parachuting for real.
Am I going to get free mac and cheese?
We could arrange that.
I'm in.